Hey, folks, welcome. Welcome to Piano Tech Radio Hour once again. It's good to see you. I was in California, you may have noticed previously, and I am back in town in Chicago where I live. So it's good to be home and relaxed, although I'm missing it. California was very wonderful. We also I also got to spend quite a bit of time with our good friend Larry Lobel, who is a fan of the show and also has done some master classes and radio hours as well. Great guy, kind of like easing into semi-retirement. He had worked at the university where he's at in the Sonoma State University, doing some piano work there, quite a bit of piano work. Beautiful concert hall they have there. He took me to see that. It's a very interesting place where they have an amazing budget to have wonderful performances and wonderful artists and wonderful grounds. And Larry took me all these other places as well. He took me to the what is it called? Callahan Piano, which is, I think it was in Berkeley, or it was sort of just across a ferry ride from San Francisco. And that was the place where they filmed a rebuilding documentary as well many years ago. Lots of fun stuff. So hopefully I'll be able to share about that even more detail. I took my camera and my audio and I gathered some content there. We'll share about that later. But yeah, we'll dive in here soon here and just kind of let people know what you're checking out. If you're out there on socials and you're catching this for the first time, welcome. Let's give you some context so you know what's going on today, and and we'll sort of get into the show, as it were. So this is Piano Tech Radio Hour. What we do here is we gather every Saturday to meet with and learn from the most fascinating and knowledgeable folks in the piano world: manufacturers, rebuilders, musicians, makers of other instruments, piano techs. Our mutual goal is to become better at our craft, to help each other, and to create an ever more musical world together. Piano Tech Radio Hour is brought to you by Piano Technicians Masterclasses, an online learning resource that brings you cutting-edge instruction from piano industry masters without leaving your home. You can find out more about that at pianotechniciansmasterclass.com. And Justice, who will be assisting today, is going to be putting some links in the chat so that you can just click directly on them when you hear anything you're interested in. You can also subscribe to Piano Tech Radio Hour, this show, for just $16 a month. You get direct access to each week's private Zoom call, as well as all the archival recordings of over 200 episodes in our member area. You can join Piano Tech Radio Hour by going to bit.ly/join-ptrh, bit.ly/join-ptrh. And we got our podcast, pianotechradio.com. That's becoming quite popular throughout the globe. Working on some really cool new guests. So make sure and check that out. You can listen while you're driving.
I think he's coming back.
It looks like we're having some technical difficulties.
Yes. Would you like me to do a song and dance while we're waiting?
Perhaps, yes.
There he is.
All right, we'll see how I can cope with this, guys. I've got internet problems at my house. Can you hear me and see me okay? Oh my gosh.
Gotta get you back into the
yeah, let me spotlight myself. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Add spotlight. Okay.
There you are.
All right, you see me? Okay. Man, this is annoying. Hopefully my internet at home will start working if we wanted to share some things. Maybe I'll just take the opportunity to unplug and plug back in my internet, guys. Sorry, this is so. If only the internet company had to deal with how awkward this is for me. All right, just a second. goodness. Here. You guys having me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, 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 yes. Loud and clear.
Okay. All right. So where was I? What's the last thing you heard, Anna, in terms of my announcements up front? I was talking about the podcast. Did you hear about the podcast?
Yeah, you were talking about you were just about to talk about the summaries.
Okay. All right. Great. Sounds good. Yeah, so the podcast is going really well.
Oh no.
Ethan, can you hear us? Let's give him a minute. There we are.
I'm just going cellular only. So my Wi-Fi is actually grabbing my phone and saying, "Let's give you bad Wi-Fi instead of good cellular service." It's that aggressively terrible. Okay. Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, so going over to our blog at pianotechniciansmasterclass.substack.com. There you'll be able to find really cool summaries of our private masterclass content with useful information there. If you like what you see, we got photos, we got descriptions about how to do cool stuff, even if you're not a paying member. And if you like it, then you can subscribe and check out more stuff. You should also follow us on social media. We got Facebook, we got Instagram, we got LinkedIn. Check out our link tree, Piano Tech Masterclass. You'll find out all the links there as well. And then reiterate, if you're out there on social, you can join us in this Zoom call right now and kind of participate live, have a front row seat. We'll put a link in the chat where you can register to do that right now. If you happen to see us right now on social, say, hey, I want to join these folks, then just go ahead and click that link. All right. Well, now it's time that we start talking to today's featured guest, who is Hannah Reimann. Welcome again to the Piano Tech Radio Hour. Hannah, we've been having you regularly. You're just ambitious spirit, kind of steamrolling the tiny keys all over the planet. And so it's always fun to check in with exactly what you're doing and how it's going, and you know, the roller coaster that is kind of trying to change something. So yeah, what we're going to do today is just kind of get an update from you, because you've actually been doing more performances and events, and all the planning's coming to fruition and whatever. So tell us where we're at. Hopefully my computer will sync up with the internet soon so I can actually share. We have some videos and photos.
Does Justice have that stuff too?
Justice has the link. You know what? Let me forward it to her just in case.
I can start putting things in. I can start putting things in the chat as well. You know.
Okay. Yeah. Let me forward.
If we have a technical breakdown, I'll grab some things from my.
Okay. Yeah. I'll put Justice on these messages so that if need be, she can take charge there. Okay, so you're on that one, Justice, and then this one. Right along. Let's put you on this. Internet. There we go. All right, I think you'll have everything, Justice. If not, just let us know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where did you send it?
Just look in your Gmail account. You'll find it.
Okay, great.
So yeah, meanwhile, give us some downloads summary before we dive into.
Well, the first thing I'm going to do, hello out there to everybody who has heard me before, and to those of you who haven't, I'm Hannah. I am the founder and artistic director of Stretto Piano Events, which is a new 501c3 nonprofit entity. We got our nonprofit status in April 2024. So this is becoming it's becoming my career. It was a labor of love for about 30 years. I founded the festival in 2021 with some remarkable pioneers. Our team has grown with some wonderful people who I'm just going to mention at the beginning so I don't forget them. Julia Furlan, Turner McCabe. Those are my two assistants. Ollie Bowman, who was our stage manager at the live concerts. And we had Jack Palmiotti and Sean Guerra on as our cinematographer and photographer. So we had a real team this year in a real known performance space, symphony space in New York City. And I'm going to send this in the chat. I forgot to send it to you guys via email. NPR interviewed me on Morning Edition. So Michelle Martin, she happens to play piano and her daughter has little hands. She has a petite daughter. She was really, really intrigued about this when I reached out to them. And now millions of people all over the world, all over the United States at least, and in some other parts of the world, know about Stretto Piano Events and what we are doing, and how this global movement of people who have little hands and medium-sized hands are influencing piano manufacturers. There are already 4 manufacturers who are making pianos with small keys. And if you can't hear it in my voice and see it in my face, I am completely exhausted. I can barely think, but I'm super excited about the 17 global events we had, including the 5 concerts we had in New York City. So you would think that with that kind of PR, with NPR, we would get more media attention, but we're still working on getting more news out there. It was not so easy while producing all those events and being in charge of the team. And also I'm a performer, so I was on the stage with my band of 9 people doing a tribute to Court and Spark by Joni Mitchell. It was a very demanding time. One of the groups of musicians came down with COVID. And so we had 7 COVID cases, and I caught it right after the festival was over. So I had to recover from COVID and then hustle up to Maine, where I have a summer cottage, and where, like Ethan, my internet was not working very well. So I'm grounded back in New York. I am moving forward. I've been contacting lots of manufacturers. I have been one by one, getting in touch with all the artists and presenters, and I have some lovely pieces of video to share with you. Why don't we show them the poster of all of our art?
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a try sharing. Give me a second.
Okay, thank you.
Set this up on my computer because my computer's joined now. Share screen. We'll do screen 2. Okay. And then, of course, my phone's like in the way, and then where I put it. And then share sound in case we need to. All right, now you're seeing my second screen. And then what you wanted to share the poster, right?
Yeah, the poster, just so they get a little overview. Those are our artists in New York City. There's Thomas Weaver, there's me, there's Eric.
We had him on, yeah.
Who came and played. He did an amazing job playing Islami. There underneath him is Thomas Osuga. Then there is Chelsea Solis, a 7-year-old 3-time competition winner. She's a child prodigy. I can't wait to hear her play. Donna Wang Friedman, who's quite well known.
We had her on the podcast as well.
Oh yeah, she's fabulous. She's really a remarkable person, and we're so proud to have her as one of our advocates. And there's Julia Furlan, my assistant, who is a very fine pianist. Jed Disler, who has the Between the Keys radio and podcast show. He's a very prolific pianist. He did 2 events for us. David Amram, who was here before. Mariam Raya, who specializes in the music of Joseph Hoffman. Zach Brock is Steve Sandberg's partner in crime with world and classical and jazz improvisation. They brought the house down. Anna Arazzi is above them. So, we had this wonderful group of people from all over the place playing in New York City live, and it was at Symphony Space. So there's that. And then let's look at the bigger poster, and you can see the international presence. You know, there were concerts in South Carolina, Dallas, London, San Diego, Melbourne, Australia, Victoria, Canada, Auckland, New Zealand. I mean, just the list goes on and on. I'm so excited that we all pulled this together. And really, the reason I'm so tired is because I've really been working on this since July 2023, when the last festival ended, and I invited all these wonderful people to please have live concerts with us so that we could report that these pianos, you know, over 200 of these pianos with little keys that we now call Stretto, are all over the world, and people should know about it. They should know that they have an option of key size if they'd like to try playing these pianos. They can come to our concerts, they can try the pianos after the concerts are over. And we plan on continuing year round. We plan on having fundraisers and events before the next festival, including an educational program and some other exciting things, which I hope to be able to tell you about maybe at the end of next month. But this is a basic overview, and we can listen to a little bit of music now if you'd like.
Oh yeah, you want to go straight to that? Yeah, let's cross our fingers on my internet.
Unless you want to ask me any questions, Ethan.
Well, let's check out some music. That sounds like a good transition. So, should we start with the young?
Let's hear Chelsea. Yeah,
okay.
She is a wonderful little girl, and she plays with such feeling, and she really likes my piano. I mean, she's only 7. It's not like she can articulate all the differences between the key sizes, but she smiles. She doesn't have to move her arms like this. I love this girl.
All right, awesome. Let's check it out. All right, so I'll have to mute myself so I don't get some weird feedback.
So if anybody wants to hear,
I'm sorry. I think you just had some little kid wiggling their fingers and playing this music in the background. I'm just kidding. It's crazy that she's like, yeah, I mean, she's very expressive and like all the nuances and the tone and the emotion. I mean, it's pretty
gestures and the drama. I mean, it's wonderful.
Yeah. How old is she?
She's 7 years old, and that was her first ever piano recital. She played Haydn, Bach, Grieg, Debussy, and Chopin. And she was so excited. Her mother said she got up at 6 o'clock in the morning because she's won 3 competitions since she was 3, I think. And
Wow.
she only played one single piece at each celebration of the victories at Carnegie Hall. So I invited her to play an entire program. And her mom was just crying on the sidelines. We were so excited. And she really did play faster and with more virtuoso ability than at the rehearsals at the recording studio. I escorted her twice to the place where my piano was stored in Brooklyn over the year. And I brought many artists out there with my car because I just really wanted them to be taken care of. And I'm so excited about Chelsea's presence. She's going to Cremona this in July, and she'll be competing in a competition there and at a summer camp there. And I hope that we'll be presenting her in New York City again as soon as we can, because she's really like a perfect person to be playing the piano. And it's not like she has a lot of opinions. She's just playing, she's just playing with comfort and ease, and it goes very quickly for her to practice.
I want to know what her opinions are, though. Are they are they about certain cartoons, or like, I want to hear her talk like my 6-year-old, like Paw Patrol or whatever.
And I think you're right. I think that's probably what to ask her about, like cartoons and what she likes to do in her spare time.
I mean, you never know. Maybe all she does is play piano. Some kids are like that, but I'm guessing she probably likes, unicorns and rainbows, like any other kid. And
we'll work on that, Ethan.
Very cool.
We'll talk.
I want to hear.
She's very reticent. I talk to her and I ask her things, but she's usually just, she likes it. She nods. She smiles. She's like, she's
kids can be very shy.
Yeah, exactly. We're still getting to know each other. So I'm just delighted to have presented her, and we really look forward to presenting her again soon.
Awesome. Do you want to play something else next, or talk a little bit more?
That was our youngest participant. She was 7.
Okay.
And David Amram's 93. You can show a little bit of the spectrum. This is not on a Stretto piano. He has big hands. We give our artists a choice, but he is our celebrity performer, and you can see from this clip why everybody loves David so much and why people show up for his shows.
All right, let's check that out. So let me just hopefully we're gonna go over here. You can see that different video, right?
Yep.
Now mute myself. We're back.
So there's David in action, Ethan.
Yeah, nice. He's so versatile. Man, yeah, after he jumped on that one day, I just was, you just go to Spotify. Like anybody that hasn't, first of all, I heard him. Did I tell you how I remembered how I had heard his name? Why it was very familiar to me. Yeah, I don't think I told you about this. So, do you know who Raffi is?
Rappy?
Raffi, Raffe, I think, or IE or something.
I've
So
heard of it.
He's a children's musician.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And
I do know who he is.
like we were talking about before, you have a little kid, you get to know this stuff. And so he has this one song that he has, and it's one for me and one for David Amram. It's part of the lyrics of the song that he wrote. And I think I looked it up, and it sounds like he probably chose the name because it rhymes, But it's funny that he's immortalized in the children's music, and then go to Spotify and search his name. So many albums, so many genres, and like especially like just some really hard hitting stuff. Especially some of the Latin music is amazing, and it's incredible what he's achieved in terms of the music. And he said it several times during our interview. It's about the music. It's not about me. What matters is my music lasts into the legacy. And I have to say, he certainly has left an incredible legacy of music that I think people will start to, dive even deeper into and discover all the nuances of. Yeah.
One of our goals at Stretto Piano Events as advocates of David Amram's music is to present his piano concerto with an orchestra while he's alive. That's like one of the things on my list. If somebody will play it on a Stretto piano, that would be even better. But there are, if Thomas Weaver, if he plays it on the normal keys, amazing. I have all kinds of dreams about what we can do with David, for David, as he helps us, because he really has been a wonderful advocate for us.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool.
So, now I'd like to
yeah, go ahead.
Wait a second. I didn't hear any of that. You got kind of garbled up, but
go ahead.
Okay. I while I was talking about the piano concerto, I thought this is a good time to mention this next story. So I have had the great fortune, partly because I know you, Ethan, to have met Dean Reimann and another technician, Fred Sturm, who is part of the Piano Technicians Guild. And I'll just kind of cut to the chase. I have been engaging in emails and talking to Dean about how we can get more keyboards out there. Because you know what happens after every festival is all these people write to me. How can I get a piano? How can I get a keyboard? How much does it cost? Where, how long, blah, blah, blah. And now I actually have place for them to go. So that is a huge victory, which I want to thank Piano Tech Radio Hour for the collaboration, for helping speed that process. And when I met Fred Sturm, and I thought, wow, the Piano Technicians Guild, that reminded me of a story from a long time ago when I was a student and I had called all the manufacturers, including Bösendorfer. And the question was just, how many pianos with narrow keys have you made in the past 20 years? Where are they? Where can I play one? I need to know more about this. And the president then, oh gosh, I can't remember his exact last name, Roger W. Westerheimer, Roger W. He was the president of Bösendorfer, which is now owned by Yamaha, as most people probably know. So Roger and I had several conversations. He knew about a Bösendorfer grand piano that was custom ordered by an opera lover and wealthy philanthropist named Cynthia Wood. And she died, I believe, in 1987 and bequeathed the piano to the Western School of Music in Colorado. So I heard about this, and then I was like, well, where is it? Can I go and play it? Then I heard it might be at Cal Arts. And he said, oh, no, you know, we removed that keyboard after she donated it because it's useless, and we replaced it with a real keyboard. And the little keys, the 7/8 keys, were sent to the Piano Technicians Guild Museum, which is not open to the public. So I was like, well, I want to go and see it. I want to play it. But all the doors were closed to me back then. Roger was helpful in some ways, but like, you know, many of the piano executives, they're like, who is this young woman bothering us about this invention that we really don't care about it? So I asked Fred in an email if he knew about this, and he sent me photographs of the keyboard, which is what I sent to you. So you can bring those photos up of
Oh yeah, sure.
7/8 keyboard. And it's actually from an Imperial Grand, a 9'6" piano that has 96 keys, including those black ones at the base end to give that lowest A more of a beautiful sound and more sympathetic overtones. I cannot tell you how excited I was to find out that there was an Grand Bösendorfer made with 7/8 keys in the 80s, or maybe even before. So this was hugely exciting for me in the aftermath of the festival to learn about this.
All right. All right. And all the pictures are of the same thing? So these are all the same piano, right?
Three photographs
okay. So
of the keyboard only, not the piano.
Okay. Let me bring these other ones up on the screen too, so we can see what they're all about.
Yeah, the document is not so legible, but it is some proof.
And okay, yeah, let's check them out. So oh, this is like the proof of it actually being in. This is donation. This is Roger Wise designer. Yes. Okay. So there's that. And then this is the same thing. I think I opened it twice, right? So for the first time, you can see the sort of way that this is achieved. It's very angular. Oh, and it even has the black keys at the bottom here. Of course, from the Bösendorfer. And this is a special case. It looks like the case is open. So yeah, very cool.
Isn't that amazing, Ethan?
See if we can... Yeah, that's really cool that they have it there. It's wonderful. I'm trying to get this other one up. Yeah, you were talking about Dean. So we did a master class with Dean recently, on the action geometry. Is a roadblock. If anything, it's just just get people on the waiting list as soon as possible. But I'm pretty sure that waiting list that he has is way short. So that's wonderful. So I have this, something to keep on top of it. Very cool. And how did you get connected with
With whom?
Fred? How did
Through Dean, I think. Yeah,
you get
because
connected with Fred?
I met Fred
Right? You
because
said you're connected with Fred Sturm, who's through Dean. Okay. Okay,
through
perfect.
Dean. Yeah, I mean, there've been so many emails and calls, but I'm very grateful to Dean. I got to meet him in person because he came to hear me play in New York when he was in town. That was a real thrill for me to be with him and his wife and spend some time together.
Oh,
And
nice.
then I became acquainted with Fred afterwards. This is very, very exciting for me because I was truly despondent when I was in my 20s on this quest. And I felt like, why can't anybody wake up to this? This is so important. And to know that this Börsendorfer existed, I always wondered where it was. So now we know where the keyboard is. I knew where it was back then. We're still looking for the piano. So I will be on the trail. And if anybody out there in Piano Tech Radio Hour land ever hears about this, I think the next move I need to do is just ask Fred what the serial number is and talk to my friends here who are the Yamaha and Börsendorfer dealers in New York and see if we can track down the serial number and find out where this piano is. I mean, it's a 9'6" piano. It's not like it can get completely lost, right?
Yeah. Oh,
Pretty.
that's interesting. You don't actually even know where
I have to call the Western School of Music. I was told it was at Cal Arts, but the technician there told me that it's not there. So, this is the kind of
are located. I wonder.
Okay. Yeah, I can't hear you properly. I don't know where it is, but I'm determined to find it. And if I'm on the podcast at the end of July, hopefully we'll have some answers for everybody about that. And we'll let you know what happens with the keyboard. Of course, the first thing that I thought of as a presenter. Huh? Still can't hear you, Ethan. So sorry. If we're able to put the piano and the keyboard together, of course, we want to have concerts. So that's
Can you hear me right now?
now I can. Yes, you're back.
Yeah, now I'm on my computer. I don't know, my phone stopped working.
Oh.
So anyways, I wasn't saying anything.
I'm not saying anything.
I just kept talking. I'm not sure what happened.
Oh, okay. Let me see here. Just a second.
There we go. Oh, well, so that was an enormous thing. And of course, there's been more conversation about helping kids, where to put the piano next. If anybody has any ideas, my piano's in storage probably till the end of this month and maybe through July. Locations and events, we're starting to plan. If I stood up after every concert and said, If anybody knows any millionaires with little hands that plays the piano, if anybody knows locations in New York where people would embrace this, we've become more of a known phenomenon. We hope that.
So you have the, so you, I mean, I can't, I just can't, I feel like I just can't resist. I really don't know if I really want to say this, but you do have, there is the tiny hand Donald Trump thing that's like a theme, you know. So I'm wondering, you know, maybe there's some way to piggyback on with all the attention there, you know, some kind of a meme. There is some there. I feel like I saw some meme where he's playing piano. We might have even showed it on here at one point. So they show his upper body and he's just making silly faces or whatever like he is, but then they have the lower half of it as somebody actually playing the piano. But his facial expressions are kind of going along with like a grand piano thing, and it's really funny. But yeah, I guess, you know, I think it's been a while since they were harping on the tiny hands thing, you know. But you know, maybe you can bring it back and you make it a Stretto thing and you'll get
Noted.
all kinds of publicity.
Oh my goodness. Well, I guess the sky's the limit with Stretto, right? We
There
can
you
go
go.
wherever
There
we
you
want.
go.
Cross over all political lines. We cross over any
Exactly.
socioeconomic boundaries. This is all about just everyone and equity through and through. So
There
I
you
know
go.
a few minutes left. Let's hear some of the fantastic female artists that were presented at the festival. Julia Siciliano, who actually introduced me to Dean Rayburn. She came to New York from Chicago, and she's playing the Brahms Opus 119 Klavierstücke, piano pieces. So yeah, let's
Okay.
hear her.
Check that out. All right, here we go. Screen two. Let's get rid of these. Is that this one or the next one?
That's Julia Siciliano.
Okay, perfect. Let's do it. Beautiful. Yeah, very talented.
That's the lady who's going to be playing the first Stretto concerts in Chicago, Ethan. As soon
Oh,
as
okay.
there, she is our proponent, and she's drunk the Kool-Aid.
So
I absolutely
it's a
adore her.
palatable Kool-Aid. It's a palatable Kool-Aid.
And Julia Furlan, who lives in New York and who is playing with the Trillium String Quartet. This is
Oh,
that
yeah.
was Psalms, and this is the work of Florence Price, a woman composer from the early 20th century, an African-American woman who was a very, very skillful orchestrator. So this is a pretty cool moment too.
Okay, check that out.
Thank
Didn't
you
mean to
for
cut so abruptly. I was trying to like turn the volume down, but we're gonna have to run soon. But it's really great music, really wonderful, and a lot to pull together as well. You know, organizing events and concerts and whatever, and selling tickets and getting people in the seats. I mean, you have to remember, like, putting together a concert is one thing, but if you play it to an empty room, it's, you know, it's another thing, right? So you got to get the people out there and, you know,
Tell
get the
me about
audience
it.
together. It's a lot, yeah.
Well, I've learned a whole bunch of tricks, and I don't know. I've done we did the best we could. We had
Yeah.
to do it. I know that it seems a little bit crazy to have done all of this stuff. I always think about Jobs and how he would say, you know, if people aren't calling you crazy, you're not doing it right. So I just we probably, you know, it's a little bit much, but this way we got attention from the media. This way we have volume to show. This way the next events can be bigger. You know, I got the ear and some really great feedback from some manufacturers who I'll tell you about in the future. I just want to make sure it's a sure thing before I advertise anything, but people are responding to how this year's festival came together. And yes, it was very difficult. It was very expensive. It is completely crazy. Um, I don't know how to go backwards. We have to go forward. We have to use the momentum and keep going forward, or we will not succeed and we will all die, just like everybody else did in the 20th century. We tried so hard to do this. We have to do this as a huge global movement, and we will succeed. I'm so sure of it. I'm so sure of it that I'm willing to put every single thing I own into it, because I know somebody has to do that. Somebody has to make the time and make this their career, or it's just going to disappear again.
Hmm.
People like
Well,
Chelsea are going to make the difference, you know?
yeah, you're making a lot of great progress. And yeah, Dean was very excited about it when I was hanging out with him, and yeah, definitely a handful of people that I connect with. You know, they're talking about it and excited about it. It's usually like the people that matter. You know, so that's good. People that matter, they're doing stuff. Um, so this is wonderful. Oh, I was going to say, I mean, you never know what's going to click too. You know, like I read. I'm trying to think what the name of this book was. I can't remember the exact name, but I was in the middle of a book, and it's about achievement, and the author is this Stanford guy, you know, so he worked in the design school. And he says there were at least three things that he really likes to highlight about when you're trying to do stuff, you know, and you're trying to make it work or work better, you know. So one thing he says you got to figure out is what will you get out of achieving whatever you're doing? And you ask yourself that question and you answer that question. So like, you know, for example, you know, why are you going to, you know, why are you going to college? Well, I'm going to college because I want to get, you know, a degree and a great job. You know, why do you want to go to college and get a degree to get a good job? Well, I want to have a family and support them or whatever it is. And by doing that, you find out uh, more the problem that you're trying to solve. Because sometimes you're trying to solve like a problem that's like a little bit different than what you thought, right? So in that particular example, maybe you don't go to college. Maybe you just shortcut some way to get a great job and have your family because that's what you really want. So that's one thing he says about, you know, you keep sticking to a path, but you ask yourself like, what's the goal of the goal of the goal, and then it helps you get there better. Another one is, am I trying or am I doing? And sometimes if if you're trying to do something, um, it means you're not, it's sort of similar. It means you might not actually be doing the right thing. Or maybe you don't even want the thing, whatever.
That's
Yeah.
what Yoda said. There is no
There is
trying.
no try, right?
That
Yeah.
is my motto with
Yeah.
Stretto Piano Concert.
Yeah. And so you're doing, you know, you're definitely doing, right? There's no like, oh, you're trying to do this, trying to that. You're taking action, you're doing.
I have,
And
I have one
yeah,
last pitch that I want to make, and then I want you to keep going with that. I'm
yeah, go
so
for it.
So for my birthday on Facebook, I put up our fundraiser. We have a Give Butter platform now. It's a very good platform for fundraising, and we've already made close to $500 just from that Facebook posting. And we have raised a bit of money, you know, it comes in here and there. If anybody out there would like to give $25, $100, $500, $1,000, whatever you'd like to give, however small, however large, it all adds up. Please pass this around. I just sent a link. We want to hire as many artists as we can of quality. We want to rent as many halls as we need to until I can afford to have my own venue in New York City. We want to make as many records as we can and get up on Spotify and let people know in the virtual world. We need to make more of an impact. We made a big impact, but we need to jump up into 2025 with more power. So, you know, I'm so appreciative to be here. And yes, there is no try. And you keep going now, Ethan.
Yeah, you mentioned records too. I was one thing I was going to mention was such beautiful music, you know. I don't know if this is just another thing on your plate or if it's appropriate or not, but like a very specific Stretto record label could be very interesting, you know. We had this guest on here, Christian Benitez. He just won a Latin Grammy Award, and he was a Steinway artist. And the big deal about it was he recorded on the Steinway record label, and they had this record label, and he recorded on it, and then they won the Grammy. I think it was the first time that Steinway label actually won a Grammy. That's an interesting approach. Not for everyone. You already got a lot on your plate. The last factor.
I have been wanting that for like 25 years. I've wanted to have a Stretto piano label for ages. And that
what you do, you know, what's interesting is you get the label, and then maybe you get someone who, you know, like actually a big star that gets sells a lot of records with this, with the small hands.
We're doing.
Yeah. You're trying.
I escorted all these people to the studio with my car. Some of them insisted on coming in their own car. Some of them were famous. I can't drop, you know, names. We only have one piano here. Help us build more pianos. Help us get that Imperial Grand in a performance space, and let's get some of those stars in there with us. You know, I know we can do it, and I know the records are a very important part of it. So, you know, there were 4 other people who were interested in making records. For whatever reason, that there wasn't enough time, or they needed to hesitate. Mine will be coming out. Jess Johnson has a record. Carol Leone has a record. If we start with the Spotify playlist, eventually we could start our own label. It's just a question of priorities, of what is going to shift things the most, the soonest. So, you know, that's kind of like the metric that I look at all the time. What do I need to do now? What's going to have an impact that's going to help things more? And I truly feel like this festival was what we needed to do now to shift things. And that can lead to the other priorities. Yeah.
I'm looking this up so that I can share what the heck I'm talking about. So, it's called The Achievement Habit. This guy's name is Bernard Roth. So he wrote this book. He's a Stanford guy. The third factor that he mentioned is reasons. So he likes to talk about reasons. And interestingly, that reasons don't matter as much as you think they do. So, like, you know, you could say, I didn't do that because of da 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 da, or I did that because of da 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 da. But again, it's really kind of like, are you doing it or are you not doing it? Ultimately, the things that we do and achieve and the directions we go, the way he argues it is there's millions of reasons why you could or couldn't have done it. We tell ourselves the reasons to just because they're human and that's what we do. But ultimately, you just do what you need to do. Again, that's what you're doing. You do what you need to do. You're on your path. Nobody's stopping you. Keep on rocking. All right. I will walk us out. It's about the end of the hour here. Any just last words before we do that?
Questions from anybody out there? Send us a question in the chat if you have any questions to ask us.
I don't know. We've got time for questions, to be honest. We usually try to keep it at an hour, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, Justice is putting like our sign off text in the chat there as well. I'll sign us off. But if
our Facebook, check out our YouTube page, check out our website, give to our Give Butter fundraiser, and stay tuned. I hope to be back in July to share more follow-up and some international recordings, because we don't have those yet. So we want to get you more and more music to show you what's happening all over the world. Thank you.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thank you for joining us, everyone, for another musical journey here at Piano Tech Radio Hour. Thanks again to Hannah Reimann and all of her colleagues for presenting what they're doing here today, as well as everyone that joined us in the audience here on Zoom. As always, we're brought to you by Piano Technicians Masterclasses, cutting edge instruction from piano industry masters without leaving your home. If you join us today, just signing up for this session individually, make your life more convenient. Just subscribe to Piano Tech Radio Hour. $16 a month. You go to recording of today's session, our member area, automatic registration for each week's new session. Sign up at bit.ly/join PTRH. And then, of course, a reminder of all the other wonderful things going on. You want to check out the podcast at pianotechradio.com. You want to check out our blog at pianotechniciansmasterclass.substack.com. All our social media, you can go to linktree/pianotech masterclass. And yeah, that's it. Just check out all that stuff. We've got another great masterclass coming up this next month with Glenn Bingham on action regulation, and we'll share more information about that. He worked with Steinway for many years, helping to train technicians and working with the Spirio systems, and he's got some really great insights to share about how to just get good at regulating pianos, which is a very important skill. Okay, thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much, Hannah. We'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. So happy to meet you.
Happy to meet you. Take care, Justice. Bye.
You too.